Hey, thank you for tuning in today. Today's going to be a quick hitter. It's a pretty simple one, but I'm going to go over loan payment calculations. And so the outline of this model is going to be pretty simple. Simple loan calculator. You put in your cost of your loan, your interest rate, the number of months you'll be paying, and then we'll do some basic calculations using the payment, basic mathematical equations, and possibly even a rate. And then I also want to show how the goal seek and the data table can be used to assist you with this. All right, so the difficulty level for this one is going to be beginner, but it is a basic introduction to the payment formula and also to goal seek and data table. All right, let's begin. All right, so today I want to cover three different things in Excel. I want to cover the payment function, and then I'm going to do two different what-if scenarios, the data table and the goal seek. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's say you were going to buy a car, and that car was going to cost about $20,000, and you want to figure out what your payment is going to be. So first, plug in the loan amount, and then what is your interest rate? So just for argument's sake, let's just throw 5% in there for interest rate, and let's just say it's going to be a 5-year loan, so that'd be 60 months. What is your payment going to be? Well, there's a function in Excel called PMT for payment, and that's the function that I'm going to show. All right, so I always like to go up here and hit the function key, and it brings up all the different variables of that function. So the first variable is the rate. All right, now that rate is going to have to be by period. And so this 5% interest rate, we'll go ahead and click on it, and that'll bring in the cell C5. But that is an annual interest rate, and you're going to make your car payment monthly. So you're going to want to take that interest rate and divide it by 12. All right, and then the number of payments, N per number of payments, is going to be cell C6, so you click on that. And then the present value, that's what PV is, that's C4. It's the starting value of your loan. And then FV is for future value. And at the end of the loan, you're going to have paid it off, so the future value is going to be 0. All right, and then the type of loan, and you can see down here it kind of explains what they are. Payment at the beginning of the period equals 1. Payment at the end of the period equals 0. For most loans, it's going to be a 1. And then you click OK. And then you'll get a payment of $375.86. That is a negative because that's payment going out. And so that's how you calculate your payment for a specific loan. Now, I always like to also calculate what my total interest is going to be. All right, so the way to calculate your total interest is first start with your total payments, which is going to be total payment times 60. All right, so your total payment is $22,551.52 versus a loan amount of 20. So you're going to want to add back the loan amount to get your total interest of $2,551. So that's it. It's a very simple function, and it's a very handy function. It's good to have. But when you're doing something like this, to calculate your loan amount, that's easy to do. The bank's going to do it for you. The car dealership's going to do it for you. Why would you want to do this? Well, because you can play with these numbers now. You can say, well, what's my payment going to be if I do a 48-month loan? Well, it's $458, and I'd save about $500 in interest by going to a 4-year loan instead of a 5-year loan. But what if that payment's too high? I don't want to do that much. Well, then in that case, maybe you make it a 72-month loan. And you can see your payment goes down to $320, but you're spending over about $500 more in interest over that 6-year period to do that. All right, so I think you can see the value of doing it that way. So What we're going to do now is I want to do a little bit of a what if scenario, because you can sit here and play with your interest rates, play with your loan term, loan length, and you can calculate it out. But it's nice to kind of see it all in a table. So let's just say I want to do a loan length and compare all the different loan lengths and see what the payments would be for each. So let's start with 24 months. Let's add 6 months. And then copy that down. Pretty much 84, I think, is the longest loan you can get for a car. All right. So you want to have it set up, and then you want to be able to have the payment value show up next to each one of these months, so that you can see exactly, what is my payment going to be for this period of loan. All right. So what you do is, now that you've set this up, you're going to put what your desired cell is going to be. So in this case, it's C7. So I want to have that payment number here for each one of the months. Now you could do that manually and type in 24 and get 865 and type it in there, but there's an easier way in Excel to do it. So now highlight this little graph that you've created, right? And then up here, there's a what if analysis, and there's a data table. All right, and so for the data table, all you have to do is, for the column, you leave the row input cell blank in this case, and the column input cell, you highlight that, and then you just click right there, and that is going to be total period. Okay, and click OK, and boom, now you have all your payments. So if I have a 5-year loan, it's 367. And let's check that. Let's change that to 60. And 367.11. If I wanted a 4-year loan, it's 450. Okay? And so on and so forth. So instead of doing the payment, maybe you wanted to change this. So instead, you're doing total interest. You just change that to this. And you can see. So now instead of a payment, I'm looking at what's my total interest payment, right? If a 2-year loan, I'm only going to pay $774 in total interest. In a 7-year loan, I'm going to be paying almost $3,000 in interest. And you can double check that. Back to 84 months. Now originally I had that at 5% interest. And you can see, my goodness, 1% interest makes a significant difference in the total interest paid. Okay, so I hope you can see the value of doing this type of what if analysis. But let's go into this goal seek one, because I think this one is even more powerful. All right, let's just say you have no choice. You have to do a 60-month loan. Okay, 5% interest is what you can do, but you're allowed to spend $400 a month. And this only comes out to $375.86. So you want to calculate, well, how much car can I buy at a 5% interest rate over a 5-year loan if I can afford a $400 payment? So we can calculate what your total loan could be to meet your budget. And that's called a goal seek. So under what if scenario analysis, you have goal seek. All right. So we want to set this cell right here, C7, total payment, to a value of -400, because I can afford a $400 payment. And what cell do I want to change? I want to change my total loan amount. So what is the maximum cost of the car that I can get to get to my $400 a month budget? And then you click OK, and it calculates it. You could get a $21,000 car instead of a $2,000 car, a $20,000 car. All right. So there's all kinds of different ways you can do this. You could say, given this information, a $20,000 vehicle, these variables are all set, but I don't want to pay any more than $2,000 in interest. What does my loan length have to be for me to only pay $2,000 in interest. All right, so we're going to set this cell right here, C9, to a value of -2,000, and we are going to change the loan length cell to equal 2,000. So how many months does the loan have to be for me to only pay $2,000 in interest? 48-month loan. Now, that's probably a fraction, okay? Because in order for it to hit 2,000 exactly, this number is going to have to be a fraction. So you're going to want to round up on that, okay? So hopefully you can see the value of doing this data table what-if analysis, of doing the goal seek, and of using the payment function. Okay, well, I hope this helps. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. Thank you very much.